What's going on, everyone? Happy Saturday. Today we're going to be working on the pinche 6.0 caddy, doing the mod that I have been dreading for hell long. We're going to do the rear free travel mod where we cut out the bump stop bracket so this bitch will stop bottoming out, because every time I hit a bump, this thing smacks hella hard in the back. So today we're going to be taking care of that, and we're also going to be adding some spacers to get rid of this sucked in look. Hopefully it doesn't stick out too far, but we'll see. All right, so first things first, we got the pinche nalgona jacked up in the rear. One important thing here is we want to support the truck from the frame, so that way when we drop the diff, the suspension sags as much as possible, because we need these lower control arms down and out of our way. What we're going to be doing is cutting off this bracket here, which is where the bump stop attaches to, because that's what we keep bottoming out on. You can see there's not that much room there, so we're going to be taking care of that today. All right, so this is our arsenal for today. We got a little ketchup and mustard here. We got some long carbide blades, some shorty metal blades, and basically what I'm going to do first is go ahead and cut along this weld here. I'm going to try to use a sawzall, see if that works. If not, we're going to have to bust out the needle grinder, and then we have to try to fold this down and cut the back. And I'll show you guys what that looks like once I get this cut. This cut through super easy, way easier than I expected. No angle grinder, just one of these cheapy Milwaukee blades. All right, so just grab yourself a big old pry bar here, stuck it in right there, folded this thing down, and now I have to take the sawzall and cut along back here to get rid of this. There's not really much on the passenger side you have to watch out for. Your spring is a little close, but as long as you keep the blade right against the edge, you should be fine. All right, that took me all of about 3 minutes. So the point of this mod is you can see where the bump stop used to be in here. So when the truck's super low, it bottoms out on this here. So by cutting this out, you give yourself an extra 2.5 inches of room. Now we're gonna take a grinder, smooth all this out, and give it some paint so it doesn't rust. But that's pretty much the extent of the free travel mod on these older SUVs. Well, turns out we're out of black spray paint, so we're gonna have to take the Dirty Max down to the hardware store and get ourselves some. Hijo de su puta madre! Paper route championship ring. Who me? Yeah, I'm out of your range. I'm a gangster by the G-Wagon, not a range. We got hella paint here, but I think we're gonna go with some of this paint and primer, ultra matte, or maybe semi-gloss. We got 2%. Son of a bitch, brother, if that ain't the most goddamn patriotic thing I've ever seen in my life. Went ahead and threw some paint on the frame anywhere where there's exposed metal. That way we don't have any chance of rusting where we cut. But that pretty much completes the free travel mod on this side. One very, very important thing to note on the driver's side is when you're cutting the back, your gas tank is literally right there. So you have to be super careful when cutting the top. Okay, so when you cut the driver's side, you have to be super careful, like I was saying, because look how close you have to cut to the gas tank. I mean, you have an inch. So what I did is I cut 95% of the way through to about here where I could see, and then I just bent it back and forth until it broke, and it's out. Got ourselves some goodies here from the old Amazon.com. 1.5 inch wheel spacers. Okay, they're decent. Hub centric, which is always good. I'm gonna slap these bad boys on and see what happens. One issue we quickly came across is that the old studs stick out just a little bit, just enough to hit the wheel. Some wheels have divots here, that kind of thing. These don't, so we're gonna have to cut these just a little bit there. Not really gonna be a structural issue because the threads don't start till back here, so we're just gonna go ahead and take off this little round bit. All right, guys. Well, that pretty much sums up the free travel mod on the 03 Caddy. As you guys can see, it's pretty simple. I added the 1.5-inch spacers in the rear, and they look pretty good on there. The fitment is pretty nice. I think the rear springs still have to settle a little bit because it's a little high in the back. But as you can see, the fitment is pretty on point.
Hold my 10, I plant the seed, give it water to grow. €500,000 in a third world country, I travel the coast. Always said that I want it, you want it, then done it, I do what they don't. Never try to stop my growth.